Welcome to Aztecs Now. Steve Schnall filling in for Ted Leitner. He only had a week and a half to get here, but he was stranded in Seattle. Aztecs coming off a huge victory at Air Force. We start the show taking a look at the highlights. We go back about a week and a half when the Aztecs took on Air Force in Falcon Stadium. We go to the second quarter, Aztecs trailing 7-3. Ryan Lindley finds Austin Umulo for the 27-yard touchdown pass, his first TD reception of the year, and the Aztecs take the lead at 10-7. Air Force would score a touchdown to go up 14-10, but on the ensuing kickoff, Brandon Davis does this, a 98-yard return for a touchdown. He is the second Aztec, along with Colin Lockett, to return a kickoff for a score this season. Third quarter now, Air Force up 20-17. Aztecs defense playing extremely well in the second half. Rene Siluano intercepts Tim Jefferson, and that would set up an Abel Perez field goal to tie things at 20. Very next possession, after recovering an Air Force fumble, Ryan Lindley finds Colin Lockett off the play action for a 28-yard touchdown. Aztecs up 27-20. Now, early fourth quarter, Ronnie Hillman does what Ronnie Hillman does. He breaks two tackles on his way to the end zone for the 22-yard touchdown. Aztecs lead 34-20. Hillman would score on a 57-yard run, but check out this hit. You may have seen it on the SportsCenter Top 10 plays. Jacob Driver just destroys Drew Coleman to break up the pass from Tim Jefferson. Aztecs win it 41-27. And we are back now with head coach Rocky Long and taking a look at those highlights. That was a great win against Air Force, and it just seemed like the team continued to improve as the game went on.
Well, I thought we knew it was going to be a tough game because we have great respect for Air Force. They run an offense that's hard to stop. They're really aggressive on defense. But I thought we hung in there in the first half. I thought we did okay, but I thought we kind of got after them in the second half. The biggest play of the game is when Rene intercepts the pass that changes all the momentum. After that, I thought we played really well.
And it was a question of getting the turnover, but then taking advantage of it. Obviously, you need both sides of that to happen, and it seemed like that happened consistently, and you end up scoring 24 unanswered points in the process.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if you get a turnover and don't get any points out of it, it doesn't really help the momentum shift. But we, after our turnovers, we scored pretty quickly too, which kind of adds to the momentum shift.
Talk a little bit about a couple of the players offensively, and I know you probably don't like to hone in on specific guys, but Ronnie Hillman and Ryan Lindley seemed like they both had spectacular games.
Well, I thought Ryan was accurate and sharp after a couple maybe performances that he thought were below his standards. I thought he was sharp. I thought Ronnie ran the ball really well. I didn't think he danced very much. I thought when he didn't have a hole, he hit it up in there hard. He made one great run. Next to the last touchdown he scored was a great run where he left about 2 or 3 tacklers sitting there wondering what happened. But I also thought the offensive line did a great job of blocking. They protected Ryan really well, and they opened up some holes so Ronnie could show his talent.
And I know for any coach, you want to see progress as the season goes on. You had to be, in general, just very pleased with the progress the team made in that game against Air Force.
Well, I was happy, especially since it was a short week, and we didn't play to our standards against TCU. And I thought at the TCU game, when we were getting back in the game and we had the momentum and it looked like we were going to have a chance to win, and then we made a mistake that turned the momentum in their favor. So you worry about how your team's going to react psychologically. You worry how your team's going to react physically on a short week, and they came to play and they played well enough to win, and we're excited about that.
You mentioned forcing turnovers, but it seemed also there was great penetration into the backfield. A lot of plays for negative yardage for Air Force really helped set the tone.
Well, most people don't penetrate the line of scrimmage when they play the wishbone. We played a little bit different. Now, that doesn't mean the way we do it's right, but we try to penetrate the line of scrimmage and try to make some big plays to throw them off schedule. If they average 3 or 4 yards a carry or a play, they get first down after first down after first down, and we take some chances of giving up some big plays to try to keep them from staying on schedule and get into a rhythm where they keep the ball the whole game.
And we'll get into it a little bit more later, but you have that big victory, and then you don't play that Saturday, you don't play the next Saturday. Heading into the next one, what is your feeling, both positively and negatively? You have that momentum build with the big win against Air Force, and then you have to change things up a little bit.
The positive sign is that we can get some guys that are beat up and banged up healthy. That's the positive. We can go back to training camp, which we did, and work on fundamentals and work on the one offense versus the one defense, and so forth and so on, so you get speed, the game speed in practice. Those are the positives. The negative is when you come off a big win, you just as soon play again. And if you have a big layoff like we're going to, I think it's 15 or 16 days we're off between games, there's always a chance that rust will form. And hopefully it won't last long, but we're liable to be rusty at the start of this game.
We won't let the rust form here. We'll be back again on Aztecs Now after this.
So here's Hillman. Hillman getting the air. Lifts it.
On the shotgun, Ryan has time. Can he find somebody? One-hand grab. Gavin Escobar. Touchdown, Aztecs.
Steve Schnall, Rocky Long back with you on Aztecs Now, and continuing to talk about the Air Force game. Special teams, second kick return for a touchdown this season. I mean, it's rare to get one. Now you have two. Talk about momentum and how that is a game changer.
Well, they had taken the momentum. Air Force had taken the momentum of the game right there because they had just scored. They kick off to us, and the guys involved in the kickoff return team have done a good job of blocking all year because we have a pretty good average on kickoff returns. They did an excellent job of blocking and opened up a big seam where Brandon Davis didn't even have to slow down. And Brandon's pretty fast, as you could see by him outrunning everybody to the end zone. But that put the momentum right back on our side. Any kind of special team change of momentum, a block punch, devastating to the other team. A kickoff return for a touchdown after you've taken the lead is kind of devastating, at least psychologically, to the other team. So that was a huge play in the game.
And then Abel Perez helps you out a lot with his field goals, but also as far as field position, knocking the ball on kickoffs out of the end zone. I don't think they had a chance to run one.
That's the best thing. If you can kick it out of the end zone, they can't get a return. And now we were at a little bit of altitude, which makes it a little bit easier, but he was kicking them way out of the end zone, which is really nice. And he does it quite a bit at sea level. He does it quite a bit at home. And then he was very accurate on the field goals, except the last one got blocked. And now him and I have had an argument about that. He says he kicked it high enough, and that guy jumped 40 feet in the air, and I said he didn't kick it high enough.
There is film, right? So someone...
Well, no, the guy jumps way up there. I don't know how high his reach is, but it's way up there. But you can't let a kicker get away with that kind of stuff.
All right, we talked about it a little bit about the bye week, but what was the philosophy going into the long break about how you would handle your football team?
Well, the first week that we had off, we gave them the weekend off since we played on Thursday. And then we went 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, and went back to training camp. Practices were only an hour and a half, but we had a lot of individual periods where we worked on fundamentals. We had a lot of inside drill against each other. We did pass skelly against each other. We did team against each other. We did some competition things where we competed offense versus defense. Didn't actually start putting the game plan in for Wyoming until Sunday.
And what about injuries? You said it gives you time to heal. What is that injury update right now?
Everybody should be able, that we expect to play will play. There were some guys beat up after the Air Force game that had played in the Air Force game, beat up from the game before. So they all should be not 100%. This time of year, nobody's 100%, but they're back to healthy enough to play well. We have a couple injuries, DJ Shields and Rob Andrews, that have been starters for us that won't play for another 3-4 weeks.
4-2 heading into the second half of the season. What are your thoughts going into the next 6?
Well, 4-2 puts us in a place that we could do something pretty good. Going into the Air Force game, I told the players that 3-3 was an average football team, and 4-2 is a pretty good football team. Our goal is to be a great football team, and we can. At 4-2, you can do that if you can win the rest of them. But we got to win this one to start it.
And talking about 4-2, Wyoming, a bit of a mirror. They are 4-2 as well, 1-0 in conference. And I got to believe they probably look at this game as a statement game for them potentially. Talk a little bit about the game coming up with Wyoming.
I think you mentioned. I think the two teams are exactly in the same position. I think we're both 4-2. We're 1-1 in conference. We can't afford to lose another conference game to have a chance to win the championship. They're 1-0 and they want to keep the momentum going. I think if you look at the statistics score-wise, points for, I think we're 1 point apart. I think they score 1 more point a game than we do. Scoring against, I think we're 3 points ahead of them. If you look at passing, running, all those stats, we're 3 and 4. The two of us are 3 and 4. Sometimes we're 3, they're 4. Sometimes they're 3, we're 4. The teams are really, really close. It'd be very competitive, and it's a big game for both teams, so it should be fun to watch.
Are they the typical Wyoming team, very big up front, or are they a little different this year?
Well, I mean, they're big up front, but everybody's big up front at this level. They're a spread team. About 95% of the time they're in the spread. They run zone read, quarterback keep, and then they throw it all over the park. Got a freshman quarterback that's played really well. They've got great skill at running back. They got great skill at wide receiver. And if you look, they're one of the top teams in the country throwing and catching the ball. So it'll be a big test.
I'm sure it will, and I'm sure that it'll be an exciting game at the Q. It sounds like it really kind of teed up for a good one.
I think it's going to be a very good game for the fans. Coaches, it'll drive us crazy, but it'll be good for the fans.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Coming up next, the leading rusher in the country, and he just so happens to be an Aztec. Ronnie Hillman joins us next on Aztecs Now. Steve Schnall back with you on Aztecs Now, and joined by someone far more impressive than I am, filling in for Ted Leitner, but Ronnie Hillman. It is great to have you on, and wonderful to talk to you about what makes you do what you do. Right now you're the leading rusher in college football. Just briefly talk about what that means to you.
It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the team and the program, and to have a small school, especially like to be one of the top leading rusher in the program, and it says a lot for our lineman that works hard and put in the work every day in practice.
It's certainly a combination. If the line doesn't open things up for you, it doesn't happen. But then your ability to get through and make those quick cuts, is that a learned behavior, or is that something that just comes naturally for you?
I believe it comes naturally. It's more of just going through reps and getting in the feel of the game and just instincts and just doing it.
Additionally, just the vision that you have of where you're going to go, is that something that is automatic as well, or just getting a feel for the game and what the defense is presenting?
Yeah, once you get in the zone and you start feeling what the defense is doing, you start to realize that they're doing certain patterns, and you'll be able to anticipate it and see the whole lot better and faster.
It seems like a season ago, but the victory against Air Force, where you had 2 touchdowns, 172 yards rushing, talk about what they were presenting, what your offensive line did so that you had that big a game, which was a spectacular effort.
They were trying to stack the box on us and trying to get one side of the ball overloaded so that they would be able to stop the run a little more. The line, you got hats on hats, and they did what they were coached to do, and the holes were just opening, and I just ran through them. I'm
just wondering, as someone who can't run a lick, when you have just green space in front of you, when you get through, and you know that you're going to beat everybody, no one's going to catch you. That feeling when that occurs for you.
It's an exciting feeling, just to get the crowd excited and reward the lineman with a touchdown. As for those guys, they work just as hard as I do, and just scoring for them is just a rewarding fact too.
Talk a little bit about the scheduling now. You had the game against Air Force on a Thursday, so you don't play that Saturday. You don't play the following Saturday. Talk about the positives and maybe some of the negatives for having that long of a layoff between games.
The positives would be the recovery, and a lot of guys on the team is dinged up. You get the usual sorenesses here and pull hamstrings and muscles here and there, and it helps recover. But you have to be careful of losing timing on these long bye weeks, because a lot of guys get relaxed and they start to think that they'll just come back into it, and practice will be a little bit less tempo. And Coach Long did a good job of keeping that tempo up and keeping our timing on.
I would think to an extent, because of the type of year you've had and the type of career you've had, people probably on the team look to you a little bit. Do you find yourself in a leadership role during that time and throughout the season to maybe set an example of what the expectations are for this team?
Yeah, I feel like I have to go out there and set an example every time I touch the field. Ryan Lindley's doing a great job of leading the offense. As far as the linemen too, we have some great offensive linemen that are seniors, and you know they're doing a great job just leading this offense, and I'm just more of a role player. But I lead more by example, not by vocal. As of Ryan, he's a talkative guy, and he's doing a great job leading the team.
You mentioned role player for you, but I know there is certainly a lot of talk about National Football League and the possibilities for you about that. Talk a little bit about the possibility of coming out following the season.
Right now, I'm focused on Mountain West Conference Championship. I'm focused on getting this team back to a bowl game, and those thoughts they're not existed so far, but they're there and everybody talking about it. But right now, I'm focused on being the best player I could be and going through the season with my teammates and winning the Mountain West Conference Championship.
Do you see it as a distraction, that talk?
Only if I let it be a distraction, but it's so far it's just I'll leave it to everybody else to talk about it, and then I'll just play football.
I guess it's got to be nice for people to be talking about it when year two.
It's nice in year two. So I mean, it's flattering, but I'm here to play football and be the best I can be.
Talk about football and this weekend and looking at Wyoming. They are apparently very physical up front, and one of the people they're going to be keying on is you.
Yeah, they could try to key on me, but we also have Colin Lockett and Dylan Denzel, Gavin Escalante. I could go down the list, and those guys are doing a great job of catching the ball and getting us some yards.
And interesting, I think probably if you looked at this game maybe before the season started, this one on paper may have looked like Wyoming, a team certainly that you would beat. But as you go into this game, very much mirror images of each other, both 4-2. They are undefeated in conference. Probably a statement game for them is the way they're looking at it. Maybe that gets a little bit more attention and focus on them for this coming Saturday.
Yeah. With any team you go into playing, you can't take them lightly. You can't, believe that you're just going to go in there and beat them. We have to come out there and be more physical and better than we were when we played Air Force. And those guys are going to come here to play. They always played us tough. The last 2 years they played us tough, and we can't just come in there and lollygag. We have to go in there and take care of business.
No lollygagging on Saturday, and thank you for joining us on Aztecs Now.
No problem.
All right, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your continued support.
On behalf of our 500-plus student athletes, 19 head coaches, numerous assistant coaches and staff members,
thank you for your support of the Aztec Club.
We couldn't do it without your support.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, and go Aztecs.
Steve Schnall back with you on Aztecs Now. Time to talk a little bit about men's soccer. The Aztecs defeated Michigan last weekend, and they are now 9-3-2 on the season, second place in the Pac-12 Conference. And with an update on the squad, here is Mike Costa.
The men's soccer team is halfway through conference play in the Pac-12. And with a 3-2 start, they've been ranked in the top 25 for 3 straight weeks. The team described how things have been clicking for this 2011 Aztec squad.
We've been just trying to stay together as a team, defensively and offensively, just staying compact and working together. We had some goals come in the beginning that helped us, and some shutouts too, so we need to get back to that, start keeping it zeros on their scoreboard. So, just got to continue that and try to get back to that 3-0 start.
Senior midfielder Pedro Adon talked about the importance of the final half of the season.
We're halfway through the conference already, so being in second place, I think we could win these next few games and hopefully get into first place and get a bid into the national tournament.
With only 2 in-conference losses to Washington and UCLA, the Aztecs will get to play host to the 2 squads and hope to seek revenge.
UCLA's in first right now, and they're taking off a bit, but they're not too far in front. We can catch them, and then Washington's caught us now, so they're tied with us on points. So those are huge games. Coming top 2 in Pac-10 is really big going into the tournament. That should get us in. But yeah, those are just definite payback games. We really want to beat Washington again.
The Aztecs continue Pac-12 play this weekend as they host Oregon State on Friday at 3 in the afternoon and Washington Sunday at 1 o'clock. Admission to all home soccer games is free. For Aztecs Now, I'm Mike Costa.
That is our show for this week. The Aztecs take on Wyoming Saturday, 7 o'clock at Qualcomm Stadium. The game can be seen on the Mountain and also 4SD. You can also listen in at AM 600 KOGO. Now, here's a list of the upcoming events on the Mesa, and thank you for watching Aztecs Now.